So remember that they're changing my voice. This video is about how the Bible actually ended. I'm just going to read the first part of it, and then I'm going to read a key part of it, and we'll wrap this up. We'll make this a short video. I am the Messiah in real life, and not in the stupid mainstream psychological construct. That construct is basically for childish people, especially child molesters, who like to pretend to be important in public. I was born in 1981, and Satanists, especially ones who lie about God, were and are everywhere on earth. The Royal African Falcon top martial artist kingdom with God is heterosexual. And God brought me into this world through it and my parents. Females never truly valued me, and at 16 Maria Mello broke my heart after she had broken up with a guy who looked like Wheeze Weasel from the cartoon The Devil and Daniel Mouse. No offense to anybody. There's a reason why they did it that way. And it has to do with Set being a play on words for tease, and Satanists who like to mock God and doing mock rituals. So fueled with righteous indignation, I and my moral hatred for the world, began my martial arts workout routine. In spite of their jealousy, technological sabotage, and a serious car accident at 17, I was able to pick back up my top martial arts workout around 28 or 29 or so. And around the time my ex-fiancée left me for the last time. She was a Satanist who worked for the governing class, as far as I know, and the governing class hired Satanists that work with the state and the churches and more. They sought to try to train me, cheat me, and take credit from God and I. Again, they sought to try to train me, cheat me, and take credit from God and I. Again, the word cheat is a play on words for see, he at, and he cat, and so on and so forth. And it's a very sad day when people think that the concrete jungle is where people should forge themselves on behalf of God. It's not. Okay? So I live in California, but I live in an unincorporated Morgan Hill, but more importantly, I live in a natural and supernatural state, not in a concrete jungle, white conception of civilization sort of state, but a universally morally sound, natural and supernatural state. By supernatural, I mean the essence of natural. Not Hollywood witchcraft and nonsense in the movies, not a Disney movie ending or something, but what is truly the essence of natural, truly pure and natural and righteous and just. Okay. Surely you know that the falcon is the champion martial arts animal because of itself in God. Think of the wordplay in faster and master. God speed, light speed, and quote-unquote fasting. The sun and light contact sparring. Spar it, spirit, the sword of scripture, proof, pro of, profound, proclaim. Pro-C-L, aim. See the aim of the mentally ill versus the aim of the morally precise, and how the mentally ill basically run mental health and try to make it seem like people who are crazy, like politicians, are magically sane, while people who try to go against them and the evil people pulling their strings as uncontrolled opposition and moral precision are magically crazy. Around 33, I clearly began to strike at unbeatable world record speed, and heaven's army was in God's spirit and with me. This is not something that I planned, mind you. They were doing things to kind of create the situation so that it would play out that way. So as they're sabotaging me, fueling me, breaking my heart, causing me to, drink and smoke back in the day, they did things to delay the pinnacle of my striking. But one way or another, I was a very hardened and tough and righteous and sensitive 33-year-old man with honor and splendor, and I began to strike at world record speed around that time. And before that, when I was like 30, 31, I was striking fast and effectively, but it took several years, and a lot of repetition to really start striking at this super fast and very masculine, very heterosexual strike induced speed. And the reason why I emphasize this is not to insult the homosexual and LGBT community. A lot of those people are very friendly. Some of them try to be friendly to me. It is to emphasize this because there's people in various communities that are trying to confuse that They're trying to mock God by trying to make it seem like I'm magically, an LGBT person or something. Okay, so again, no offense. Here we go. So I clearly began to strike an unbeatable world record speed, and heaven's army was in God's spirit and with me. Heartbreak and an intense demand for my righteous and rightful place and true love were in the strikes. Just like they're in my videos. That's part of why they changed my voice and speech patterns in my videos to try to play me out, because you would hear that sincerity that you hear nowhere else. And they use artificial intelligence with their politicians and, with their speeches and their mannerisms. And it doesn't work very much because they're limited by their brains and their vocal cords and other physiological things. Okay, their physiology. But that's a huge part of what's going on. And people who are from governing class lines, whites, Jews, LGBT people, token minorities who are often crypto, white, crypto, Jew, crypto, LGBT, on their patriarchal side, right, the phallic symbol, the obelisk. They are in clubs and groups, secret societies, cults, you name it. And they're trying to seem superior to other people. Okay, I want to keep this short, so let me just wrap this up here real quickly here. Romantic injustice and females teasing me also allowed me to focus my righteous indignation, and this is something that cannot naturally be done after I die. Obviously, artificial is fake. The word AI is scrambled into, the abbreviations AI is scrambled into the word artificial. Whether it's a coincidence or not, it's certainly suitable. The government did things like slow down my videos and threw them off in various ways to try to get people to doubt what no sane person would. They sabotaged and fumed and poisoned me for years, but my divine will could not be shaken. My will is eternally greater than the rest of the world's combined. This is overkill by the fact that people were supposed to come out of the global and national systems, right? Babylon's system, what have you. And they should have rallied to me. I am the gate, figuratively speaking. They were not figuratively gathered into the clouds of God's fiery martial arts warrior wrath. See Psalm 18, Jeremiah 4:13, Matthew 24, Revelation 19, and Paul's letters. About the trumpet being sounded and people being gathered into the clouds. God's righteous indignation was conveyed through an intense point in my strikes. Now keep in mind, for those of you who are confused about that, the world is made more wicked in Matthew 24, what have you, because it's turning into an evil place. In Acts, we see that Stephen the martyr cites the prophet. He said, "Heaven is my throne, earth is my footstool." And we see in Psalms, and we see in Paul's letters, if Paul wrote Hebrews, where it says, "Sit at my right hand till I make your enemies a footstool for you." And it talks about punishing the inhabitants of the earth. So the earth is the footstool. Okay? It's this place that inspires the wrath of God because of what they've done to the prophets. So those who plan to go down, again, those who plan to go down plan to be at war with God. They plan to inspire God's anger, to trample them and their offspring. That's part of why it's so stupid to reproduce. If you have any questions, put in the comments. Okay, there's a lot of good stuff here, but I'm going to skip ahead to this part over here. Okay. Any small groups that were not directly represented were in rebellion, as well as they were slack in their work. My top martial arts challenge had overkilled what my self-training had brought about. The challenge occurred on December 20th, 2013, about 11 years before the day I am writing this, the day that this was written, mind you. The date that this was written is December 10th, 2024. The 11 can be seen as two pillars that allow me to pass through and sit on my throne in heaven with a never-ending challenge and greatest victory under my belt. The word challenge is a play on words for many things, such as angels see hell, okay, for what it is, okay, angel, A-N-G-E-L, letter C, then hell, H-E-L, right, it's part of the wordplay. It's, especially the LGBT community, to challenge them for their treachery. Call, hell, and gay is part of the wordplay, right? C-A-L, H-E-L, letter N, and G-A without the Y. Angel call the fence, aka angel call with one L, and H, which is an ancient symbol for the fence. And there's other wordplay there as well. So a challenge in its highest, on the highest level of challenging, is a divine martial art challenge at the end. The divine martial art challenge at the end, my challenge. Skills at the highest level are kills, right? The word skills is scrambled into the word skills. Proof, pro of, right? What is he skilled at? Okay, the Lord is the word, the Lord is his name, Exodus 15:3. Okay, so I've made many videos proving that the miracles are figurative definitively. For the same reason you wouldn't assume that dirt is water and that water is dirt. You wouldn't drink dirt and think that it was water, right? Neither should you think that the other interpretations are more logical than my arguments in regards to the interpretations being figurative and it being about the top martial arts ever possible. When the authors of the Bible did not attempt to address the concept of the top martial arts ever possible in a fair and universal way, they had conceded that the ideal man and the Son of God is the top martial arts ever possible. Martial is marital scrambled, and Christ is the bridegroom. Okay? And English is a Latin-based language. Latin, the language of scholars, the language of Rome, what have you. So it's pretty straightforward. Also, why would God expect you to believe your oppressor talking about magic fairyland miracles instead of the most righteous person that ever lived with the universal scale telling you that he's the one who should be in charge? I mean, one of the most obvious proofs is, right, the word deal is the play on words for lead, right? Deal is lead scramble, okay? Is the system designed, right, when they say Satan is the god of this world, is the system designed to elevate me? Or is it to elevate people who lie about God and have fairy tale narratives, okay? So why on earth would the devil cover up who I am, the devil and his followers, while allowing their narrative to be everywhere? The devil obviously controls their churches. That's why so many of them are child molesters. So many of them are greedy and the prosperity gospel and on and on. So why does he allow for the arguments about miracles to be everywhere, but the subtle truth that the miracles were figurative to be suppressed? You think the devil would champion an argument that wasn't true if it wasn't true? Okay? When it seems to transcend all the other arguments, when it surely does. The reason why is because I am Christ. The word miracle is a play on words from my Ra cell. Ra means God when the Greeks are describing the Egyptian mythology, and the Greeks who translate the New Testament, mind you. Okay? That's what I'm talking about here. Okay? Now, the word Ra means evil in Hebrew. But it says in the Bible, woe to you who call good evil and evil good. And the masses of Jews were said to reject the prophets. So did their language reflect the masses of people who were Jews? Or did it reflect the individual Jews who are said to be righteous in the Bible, and prophets, what have you? So when we look up the word Baal, for example, we get a lot of stuff. One of the things that I got historically in my research is they were claiming, not me, they were claiming that Baal magically means the true name of God. Now, why would that be? Either it's because it is a word that people use to refer to God in his true form, not a deity, not a mere pagan deity, and they covered that up in popular culture, which proves my point. Or because they're seeking to twist that on a site, that is seen as being a valid, being the authority on what words mean, which also proves my point. Okay. So, for whatever reason, the leaf blower guys are walking by right now, so I'm conflicted whether I should stop the video here and pick it back up, or whether I should just wait, because it's hard to say if they're going to make the noise here. Okay. This is also something that occurs where I have to make these videos in public and I'm fumed everywhere where the people in the churches aren't. So if I'm wrong, how come I'm persecuted and the people in the churches aren't persecuted to any significant degree? I've never heard of people in the churches in the last 40 years that I've been alive, 43 years, in America. I've never heard of them being persecuted to any significant degree. But I'm persecuted every moment of my life. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Not the 380,000 plus churches who haven't experienced a moment of obvious and clear-cut persecution. Okay, now going back to what I said earlier, where the word Ra, right? The word Ra is a play on words for R. It's R without the E. And again, the E for evil, E masculine, effeminate, what have you, right? Evil is E-vi-L. It's vi-L. It's also elv, right? With an I instead of an E, but the vowels are interchangeable, right? Val-L. Okay, I'll let you figure that out. I've covered this before. Again, the word elf is also a play on words for feel and flee. So if somebody is, instead of being a man, regardless if you look like an elf, I don't care how you look, they're, instead of manning up, they take on a fairy stance or an elf stance, then it's clear, oh wow, look at this person, it's clear that they're not right with God. Okay, so this person had a very interesting thing I'm going to have to put in the comments. I don't want to, cuss in this video here. Sometimes I do, and it's not the end of the world, but I just don't want to. And let's wrap this up here. So you see that the Bible is figurative. I am the bread of life, as my fruits and deeds and doing the deeds of God bring the presence of God and those in God's Spirit around, and they cannot be hurt by science or mere technology any more than trying to harm a sun ray harms the sun at face value. So it brings the spirit of those who are right with God around, and they can't be harmed by technology. Trying to harm God or the righteous through any method utterly tramples the people trying and their offspring, obviously. Obviously, anyone trying obviously hates themselves and their families, obviously. I am the good shepherd as I come after any lost sheep there might have been. So I'm the good shepherd as I come after any lost sheep there might have been at the most difficult time ever possible. And I am in God's Spirit, and He was there in the beginning of human existence, when they first could possibly obey God. And I'm the one who's the last Valley King ever. At the last time one could possibly obey God. To my flesh dies, there's no way to obey God. So how do you obey? We see in Hebrews it says that those who have true faith obey. So how could you obey? You can't. So therefore you can't obey, and you can't have true faith. There's no way to express that faith, and you're bred not to have faith, and so on and so forth. Okay. I am in the spirit of all the righteous as well. So I am the root and offspring of the idea that David is superimposed on, and the sun, which is the phrase bright morning star, is superimposed on. So I'm the Son of God, and the sun is not God, but it's a symbol of God and declares the glory of God, like it says in Psalm 19. I am the light of the world. As God enters through me, okay, so they're making it harder for me to say this. Let me just read through this, and I'll explain it afterwards. I am the light of the world as God enters through me, as I am the gate, and no one gets to heaven but by me, except my parents when they die, but they are not the gates. It is similar to the idea of not being able to love a person if you are profoundly doing them wrong. One cannot love God to connect to God while they are cheating me out of my right to lead. I am the light of the righteous life. I am called mighty God, as I am God's son and His true representative. But I am not God. I am called wonderful God, as I am the true guide, and people should listen to only me in matters of God, love and martial arts, etc. I am the root and offspring of David and the bright morning star, because I am the son of the source of the idea David is superimposed on, and I am one with God, the source, and I'm one with God, who's the source. I am also in the spirit of the deeds and spiritual children of the idea that David is superimposed on. If you have any questions, put in the comments. It's pretty straightforward. You should be able to, rewind it, look at the annotations, figure it out. It should be pretty straightforward. I'm a pronounced martial art king, the top martial artist ever possible. There's a reason that kings wear a sword. They are trying to be like me, and there's a reason why it's called the sword of Scripture, and how it divides. It does something that's more impressive than just a brute striking someone down with a sword. Okay? It discerns the thoughts and actions, right? Like a master martial artist at the highest point. Discerning the actions like me, the top martial artist ever possible. Truly understanding your soul and spirit, dividing between bone and marrow, right? Quick and powerful. Fierce and powerful. The sword of Scripture. See Hebrews 4:12. Now, I know they sunk to the level of making it harder for me to speak at the end of this, and that's part of the story. Part of the story is there's a bunch of Prince Humperdinck, politicians in fancy suits, the church people with fancy clothes, like Jesus warned them not to be like, okay? He said, did you come to see someone in fancy clothes, like some worm in a king's palace? Like some rich, cocky person? No. You came to see a prophet. And prophets aren't some fancy, schmancy, concrete jungle punk. Think about it.